they were going to be a bad football team. I mean, especially before the season started, we thought they were going to be the ones selecting Caleb Williams and Kyler Murray was going to be the one that got shipped off. It didn't work out that way. They were actually a competitive bunch. Their head coach is a very good head coach. I know his last name is Gannon. I don't know what his first name is, but
Jonathan
I
Gannon.
think with the draft capital that they have, and the positions that they need, there's still ways away to maybe competing for like that division title. But they're gonna probably come out of the first, I don't know, 80, 90, 100 picks with, if they do this right, potentially 3 or 4 starters. And really they can have a situation where they get a starting cornerback and a starting wide receiver, and they can probably get somebody to solidify the middle of their offensive line with one of these centers too. I mean, with those 3 picks right there, I think they instantly upgrade their football team. And then, just see how they filled it out with free agency, see how everything gels together. And I think this year they might not be trying to make some crazy, crazy jump, but for sure they can compete with the Seahawks. And, the Rams finished it at 10-7. Seahawks finished at 9-8. I can see them maybe getting to the fighting for that third or second place finish in their division, and throughout the whole entire NFL season, maybe be on the fringe of possibly like competing for for a playoff spot, like that last wild card spot, the 7th seed, and just missing the playoffs because of 1 or 2 games, or making the playoffs because of 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, with the Cardinals, personally, I do think they're the biggest sleeper, and one of the reasons why you said they're not is the reason why I think that they are, and that's because Kyler Murray was hurt, and the sentiment on Kyler Murray is pretty down. I think that playoff loss against the Rams a couple years back left a bad taste in people's mouths. Not to mention the contract situation where they put in like, make sure you study the playbook a couple times a week and chill out on the Call of Duty. Like, I feel like the sentiment on him is really down when it's like, hey, remember, this kid got drafted #1 overall. They shipped out Josh Rosen, and he got drafted to the MLB at the same time. Like, this kid is exceptional talent, and I think if they did somehow get the #1 pick, they would realize, and let's say they got the #1 pick and Kyler Murray was still showing what he showed when he did play, but they just have to lose a little bit more games, right? Which would be hard to beat the Panthers out, which is now the Bears pick. But let's just imagine that. I think they just go ahead and try to either trade back a couple spots where they could still get Marvin Harrison Jr., or they just stick and pick and say, hey, we got a plenty of picks. Let's just make sure we get them. That would have been a perfect situation, but I don't think they would have shipped him out like the Bears did Justin Fields. But yeah, with the Cardinals, they have #4 overall, #27, #35, #66, #71, #90, number 104, and then they have 4 more picks after that. So it really comes down to getting the right guy, because these picks are always hypotheticals. They're always, it sounds good. It's in these trades, it's like, oh, they got a second rounder and a third rounder for this guy. But if you use that on a Jalen Reagor, then who the hell cares, right? So if they could just hit on these picks, like Austin said, and get a couple starters out of those first picks and maybe a couple sleepers later in the rounds, they will definitely be a big sleeper to me, because I just believe in Kyler Murray that much. And I'm kind of assuming they get Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson, Trey McBride, and you have
Go to Trey McBride's profile really quick, please.
yeah,
For
yeah,
sure, for sure.
the tight end.
McBride. Oh yeah, I picked him up in fantasy last year. He was cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, smooth. They had him in the slot. They had him in a slot a bunch.
He can even run block.
Yeah, no, the kid's a beast, and they got him in the second round. So I mean, hey, that's good. That's good use of draft picks there. Just good use of your picks, getting a guy like that instead of the Falcons getting Kyle Pitts, number 4 overall. Don't think the Cardinals would do that, you know? So I have high hopes for him as long as health stays intact, but that's kind of what we got to say for every team. But that's going to be a very interesting division, I think, with Jonathan Gannon getting the full year, Kyler.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like I said, he's a good head coach. I mean, he was scheming up ways to beat teams. He beat 2 teams from his former division, which was the NFC East. Was the NFC East? I'm talking about Jonathan Gannon. He was able to scheme up to beat the Dallas Cowboys week 3 of the NFL season. So like Cowboys had no excuse to lose that football game. And he was able to, well, Kyler, him, and I can't think of the running back's name right now. Oh my gosh. James Conner were able to beat Philadelphia 76ers, Philadelphia Eagles on the second to last game of the season, or the last game of the season. Yeah,
No. We were the last game of the season.
17.
It was yeah. That was poetic justice.
Yes. So I mean, I like their head coach. I like what they're doing. I mean, I even like the decision that they made and not giving up on Kyler, letting him play out the last few games of the season. I respect Kyler for coming back and playing the last few games of those last few months of the season. Like I like the Cardinals, but I just think that right now, you know, they got a few steps that they still need to take before they start making that serious playoff jump.
Yeah, I think they're definitely a year away, but hey, all it might take him and Marvin Harrison, that connection could win them a couple games by itself. And side note, shame on the NFL for having Buda Baker be a Pro Bowler over like Antoine Winfield or some of those guys. I know his name sounds cool, but he did not play that well. Like that shit pisses me off. Like that it's not something where it's like, oh, it's just customary. Like there's money involved here when it comes to shit like that. And I like Buda Baker, but come on, bro.